This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Monday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. Here's what's making headlines on this May 4th. Today, most of Indiana will be taking steps to get back to normal. Working for you, we're breaking down Governor Holcomb's plan to reopen the state and what that means for business restrictions. The coronavirus is making it difficult for students to take advantage of those summer internships and jobs this year. We talked to the University of Indianapolis about ways they can still make the most of it. And with many people unemployed, a new app is offering unique opportunities for gig workers. We'll show you how the Drum app works and how it can help you earn money. But first, we want to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by from home this Monday morning. Todd, good morning to you. What's in store for our forecast today?
Well, Lauren, good morning to you and good morning everybody at home. It's a decent day for us here today. It's not quite as warm or as spectacular as it was over the weekend, but it's one of the better days that we'll have this week. So you really need to take advantage. 40s and 50s this morning as you get going on this Monday. 43 in Bloomington, 51 in Muncie, Crawfordsville sitting at 45 degrees currently. There's one little band of cloud cover that's dropping from north to south through the state, but no rainfall in there. It is completely dry. That is the good news, and we will continue to see dry conditions throughout much of the day today. It's not until late this evening after sunset that we'll start to bring the chance of a few spotty showers into this forecast. The one trend you will notice, though, throughout the day is the clouds will increase. So it's brighter the first half of the day compared to the second half as these clouds start to build in. But once we get to this evening, those showers, as I mentioned, return, and they're going to be with us off and on throughout much of the week. We'll talk more about that extended forecast, Lauren, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look outside right now. This is up on the north side, I-465 in Ditch Road, where we did have some road work over the weekend on the bridge there. You can see interstate traffic is moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. No issues to slow you down. Well, starting today, much of Indiana is moving into the next phase of getting set to get back on track. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with the details on the governor's plan to reopen our economy. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. So the governor's plan outlines 5 stages that Indiana will go through as we go back into somewhat normalcy. The goal is to have us back to some kind of normal by July 4th. And starting today, most of the state will move on to stage 2 of this process. However, Cass, Lake, and Marion County will not be moving on quite yet because we do have the largest amount of COVID-19 cases in those counties. Now, in this phase, most retailers will be able to open and operate at 50% capacity. If a week passes with no major issues, restaurants can open at 50% capacity, and hair salons and barbershops can open by appointment only. In stage 3, which will start on May 24th, gyms, fitness centers, playgrounds, tennis courts, and theaters can operate at half capacity. In stage 4, which would start on June 14th, retail stores and malls can operate at full capacity. Dining rooms and restaurants will be able to operate at 75% capacity, and bars and nightclubs at half capacity. Museums and zoos and aquariums can reopen. Sports leagues and tournaments will then be able to resume. And finally, in stage 5, which would start on July 4th, conventions, sporting events, fairs, and festivals can resume. Governor Holcomb says while getting the economy going is important, it's also important to never forget the pandemic has taken the lives of more than 1,000 Hoosiers and counting.
We will honor their memories by never forgetting them, their smiles, their laughter, their love, their wisdom, their good works while they were here with us.
And the governor says the plan to reopen is not set in stone. Many of the details could change based on hospitalizations, ventilator availability, testing capabilities, and contact tracing efforts. Now, Mayor Joe Hogsett is expected to provide further guidance this week on how Indianapolis will work through these stages. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. The time right now is 5:05. Indiana has now recorded nearly 20,000 positive COVID-19 cases. The Indiana State Department of Health confirmed 645 new cases and 17 new deaths yesterday. More than 1,100 total deaths have been reported since the pandemic began. Marion County continues to have the most cases with more than 6,000. The state health department will host drive-through COVID-19 testing clinics this week at 5 sites sites around the state. Those clinics will run from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. today and Tuesday in East Chicago, and 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday in Lafayette, Newcastle, Plymouth, and Seymour. The clinics are open to symptomatic healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers. Testing will also be available to symptomatic people who live with one of those workers, along with people who have COVID-19 symptoms and underlying medical conditions that put them at higher risk. We have all the list of locations on the IndyChannel.com. Just click on the story on the homepage. It is 5:06. For many students, their summer plans have been impacted by COVID-19. Either internships have been canceled or their summer jobs are no longer happening. This morning, the University of Indianapolis is sharing 20 things you can do this summer to help propel your future career. And our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning with more details. Kelsey.
Well, good morning. I spoke with a career expert at UIndy's Professional Edge Center, and she says you can expect to hear the question, what did you do in the summer of 2020 in upcoming job interviews? That's why they are working with their students and now with all of you to encourage and inspire everyone to do something this summer instead of nothing. Some of those things include attending virtual job fairs, working on your resume, working an essential job, and so much more.
Well, one thing that anyone can do, no matter their situation, is set a goal and achieve it over the summer. You know, I think employers and schools appreciate the idea of someone who can set a lofty goal and meet it.
Stephanie Dietz is the Associate Director of the Professional Edge Center, and she says the current situation has a lot of students still in shock. They are working together to make this summer worthwhile. The university did share their entire list of tips with us. We'll have it for you over on the RTV6 News app. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Well, with a record number of Hoosiers filing for unemployment, we want to connect you to resources that could help you during this pandemic. There's a new app called Drum. It aims to connect businesses with gig workers who share deals from businesses with their friends and coworkers. Businesses get new customers and drummers to get to pick the gig that they want to promote, and they get commission without leaving their home. It's also designed to help small businesses boost sales. The team that designed the app started working on it a year ago and realized that during this pandemic, they can help small businesses survive.
Everyone's exploring what it looks like to change how you deliver your service, whether you're a restaurant trying to figure out what a takeout and delivery model looks like, whether you're a physical trainer trying to figure out what it looks like to hold classes over Zoom. There's just so many creative ways that businesses are trying to adapt, and we think that Drum can be one thing that helps contribute to that.
Becoming a drummer is simple. All you have to do is log on and learn more about the business you want to promote. It's a way to develop sales skills, control your time, and earn some money. A local catering company is calling on the community to help feed families in need during this pandemic. Hoagland Fine Catering's Sponsor a Meal program provides a hot meal to families of 4 to 6. They are working with the Damien Center and the Mary Rigg Neighborhood Center to reach those families. The program allows people or businesses to call in and purchase the fully prepared meal for $45. With help from their community partners, the meal will then be delivered directly to a local family.
We all are in this together, and that's something that has been said over and over again. And it's a very small effort on your part that is going to make a huge difference in someone's life. And the food insecurity right now is probably an all-time high. And so you've got the food pantries who are doing so much, but this is just everybody is deserving of a hot meal.
The pandemic has caused a major impact on the Hoagland Fine Catering, with weddings and corporate events being canceled. This is a way to keep staff at the catering company, which is based out of the Biltwell Event Center, busy. We'll put the details on how you can donate in the RTV6 News app. At 5:09, we want to toss things over to Todd at home right now for a look at today's forecast. And Todd, this is the time of year when I'm wondering when I should plant things in my pots, and it looks a little cool in the evenings this week.
Yeah, especially as we get into the weekend, Lauren, there could be temperatures down into the 20s and 30s across the area, which is very abnormal for this time of year. And I've gotten those questions as well on my Facebook page. And typically, some of your hardier plants you could probably have planted by now. But unfortunately, some of those sensitive plants, I would hold off if you don't have them in the ground yet. And of course, if you do, you're going to need to cover them up in the days ahead. This morning, though, is a decent day. We're in the 40s and 50s, and we'll have plenty of sunshine to start the day across the area. There's this one little band of cloud cover in there in northern portions of the state that is dropping down to the south. Otherwise, we are going to be in a great shape here throughout the day today with the sunshine and temperatures that'll be fairly seasonable. It'll just be a couple degrees below normal today in some northern locations, but pretty seasonable from Noblesville down to Bloomington, where we should get up to about 70 degrees, 69 in Columbus, again, a little cooler to the north at 64 in Kokomo. We'll talk more about the rain and the changes heading our way for the rest of the week coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. A family of 4 made it out safely after an explosion completely destroyed their house. New for overnight what fire officials say caused that blast. And like Indiana, 30 states are in the process of lifting coronavirus restrictions. Still ahead, a look at how the governors across the country managed reopening over the weekend. We'll be right back.
Listen to your heart. New ABC Tonight.
Welcome back. The time right now is 5:14. It is Monday morning, and here's a live look right now over Indianapolis. The moon there off in the distance, shining brightly this morning. We'll keep you updated on your full forecast so you can see clear skies out there early this morning. New from overnight, a family of 4 is safe after an explosion at their home on the northwest side. This happened in the 4300 block of Dabney Drive around 11 o'clock last night. The explosion destroyed the entire back of the house and melted some of the home next door. Fire officials believe a propane-type heater in the garage caused this damage. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Also new overnight, 2 people are in the hospital following a late-night fire in Brownsburg. Firefighters tell us the fire started around 10:30 last night on Dover Boulevard. This morning, firefighters are working to learn what started the blaze. The condition of those taken to the hospital has not been released yet. We're also learning more about a shooting that killed a 16-year-old girl on Indy's northeast side. The coroner has identified her as Naya Cope. It happened just before 1 o'clock Sunday morning on East 38th Street near Arlington Avenue. Metro police say she was inside of a vehicle with her family when she was hit by a stray bullet. Cope was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but later died from her injuries. Police are still investigating and ask that anyone who may have any information related to this to please call Crime Stoppers. This week, more than 30 states have or are in the process of lifting restrictions and reopening. The approach by governors has been hardly uniform. ABC's Alex Perchet is in Washington with more on how this is all playing out across the country.
This week, as more states begin easing coronavirus restrictions, local leaders dealing with the virus's lingering effects on safety, trying to enforce social distancing amid growing frustrations. At Lake Austin in Texas, this park ranger attempting to break up a crowd shoved into the water. In New York City, at least 100 social distancing summonses issued as the sun brought people out over the weekend. But governors struggling to chart the best path forward in reopening. Ohio's Mike DeWine announcing a phased approach to reopening. Manufacturing and construction will resume today. Retail businesses can reopen on May 11th. DeWine deciding to rescind a mandatory face mask order.
It became clear to me that that was just a bridge too far.
Mississippi stopping its reopening plans after seeing a single-day record of nearly 400 new cases on Friday due to an influx of test results all at one time. Several Northeast states announcing a partnership to purchase personal protective gear and medical equipment together, as well as efforts to increase testing. And in Washington, new questions over a coronavirus cover-up. A new report from the Department of Homeland Security obtained by ABC News claims China intentionally concealed the severity of COVID-19 from the international community in early January, while it stockpiled medical supplies by both increasing imports and decreasing exports. President Trump saying on Fox he wants a coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year, even if it comes from another country.
I just want to get a vaccine that works. I really don't care. If it's another country, I'll take my hat off to them.
The president's words come amid another warning from the CDC, an ominous report released Friday as many states began reopening. It said the virus that causes COVID-19 is still in circulation. A large portion of the population is susceptible, and the threat of a future acceleration remains. Alex Perchet, ABC News, Washington.
It is 5:17. The Trump administration says that 2.2 million small business loans have been given out in the second round of the Paycheck Protection Program. Those loans total $175 billion. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says the average loan amount distributed was $79,000. The administration said that since the launch of the PPP, more than $500 billion worth of loans have been made. The nation's nursing homes have accounted for 20,000 coronavirus deaths, and now they're hoping to stop a potential flood of lawsuits. There's a lobbying effort for states to grant homes emergency protection from the claims of inadequate care. The lobbying group says the COVID crisis created unpredictable circumstances beyond their control. They list shortages of protective equipment and testing. Right now, there are at least 15 states to provide some sort of protection for nursing homes and long-term care facilities. At 5:18, want to check in with Todd Clausen and see when we can expect some rain in our forecast. Todd?
You know, as we go throughout the course of the day today, the clouds will increase, Lauren, but the rain, that does not arrive until after sunset. So you have a good opportunity today to get outside once again. It'll be a little cooler than it was over the weekend, but nonetheless, at least you had the sunshine today. With that May sun being stronger, there's a big difference between being in the sun and having the clouds in place when you're talking about temperatures in the 60s. This morning, currently, and we sit in the 40s and 50s, so it's a cooler start to the day. 44 in Greencastle, 43 in Bloomington. Indianapolis at 50 and 51 is the current temperature as you make your way into the Muncie area. We had just this little band of cloud cover that's slowly dropping from north to south across the area. It's going through dry, though. That is the good news, and it's starting to break apart. So even if you do see just a little bit of cloud cover here in the morning hours today, do not be alarmed. We will remain completely dry, but as we expand out, you do notice the rainfall off to our west, moving through Nebraska. That is what we are going to inherit as we get into the day tomorrow. It's probably going to be arriving around this time tomorrow, at least the heaviest of the rain. There will be a few spotty showers, as we mentioned, sneaking in here later on today. So sunny skies to start, increasing clouds this afternoon, though, with temperatures that'll be topping off in the mid-60s, and eventually those skies will be overcast by 6 p.m. And as far as the rain goes for the day today, here's TrueCast, and you can see the clouds increasing a little bit across the area by 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then here come the spotty showers. I would say anytime after 9 o'clock, but they really don't start to ramp up until the overnight hours. That's when it's going to start to trend a little bit wetter across the area, and by the time we get to Tuesday morning, around 7:30, you notice the rain's pretty widespread across the area, so you'll have to prepare yourself for that. So this evening, take advantage if you want to fire up the grill. Temperatures will be falling back down into the 60s. Not only is tomorrow going to be fairly wet, it is going to be fairly chilly as temperatures are really going to struggle to warm much at all throughout the day tomorrow with those rain chances off and on. We'll have a pretty cool breeze as well, and so look for temperatures to be in the 40s for the most part. The high of 55 occurs shortly after midnight tonight, and then as we work our way into the remainder of the week, Thursday is probably the next best day that we have to look forward to with sunshine and 61. Then as we get into Mother's Day weekend, unfortunately, it's going to be pretty chilly, Lauren, with temperatures that will be in the mid-50s and just a chance of a spot shower or two on Mother's Day itself.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic on I-74. This is near State Road 267. You can see traffic here to our west is very quiet at this hour. We'll continue to keep an eye out for any crashes or delays for your Monday morning commute, and we'll keep you updated. Well, many of us have picked up new or old hobbies during quarantine, but there's one that seems to be standing out, and that's baking banana bread. In the last month, it's been the most searched recipe in the United States. Everything from the classic loaf to new vegan twists, baking banana bread gained widespread popularity in the U.S. during the Great Depression. Historians say it's because the fruit was cheap and it was easy to buy. Psychologists say the smell of baking banana bread can also trigger a sense of comfort and familiarity of childhood for many people. Well, Star Wars Day, Disney is helping fans celebrate with a new look into the franchise. After the break, the new series being introduced to the galaxy on Disney+. It's 5:22. Stick around. We'll be right back. Only on RTV6 News. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 5:25, and here's a live look at the American flag flying over the city of Indianapolis. We'll have more on your weather out there. As you can see, it's a little breezy out there this morning. Today is May the 4th, the day for Star Wars fans to celebrate their favorite franchise. It's the National Day is a pun on the phrase, "May the Force be with you," and it was started by fans. So large parties are limited, obviously, because of the pandemic, but Disney is giving the galaxy something else to get excited about. Disney Plus is debuting a new 8-part docuseries called Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian. It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the popular Mandalorian series was made. It includes interviews, never-before-seen footage, and of course, Baby Yoda. So a lot of people, maybe that'll give you something to do this week as we are still staying at home. All right, Todd, you were saying it's going to be a little bit cooler this week, which is kind of a bummer because we had a beautiful weekend here in central Indiana.
Yeah, you get teased with these warm days out there, and Saturday everybody was out. Temperatures were in the 80s with the sunshine. A little bit of a reality check. This morning we're in the 40s, and that's not too abnormal for this time of year where we are current temperature-wise. And as we go throughout the next couple hours, you notice the temperatures don't really move a whole lot, but the sun will come up. 6:41 is a sunrise, and we'll have plenty of sunshine here this morning. And eventually temperatures will be near 70 in Bloomington as well as Columbus, 66 in Indy, mid-60s to the north. It's a nice day for us. The rain arrives late tonight, and then it's with us tomorrow. More on that coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.
Stream it live on CourtTV.com. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
I think it's time. I think it's time.
The next stage of reopening in Indiana starts today. Working for you, we're breaking down which businesses can reopen today and the restrictions they still face. Plus, college students typically use summer for internships, but many companies are canceling those due to COVID-19. New this morning, we're looking at ways students can still make their summer a learning experience. But before we get to our top news stories today, I want to thank you for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen joining us from home this morning. Todd, good morning to you. What can we expect as people head out the door to start their Monday?
Lauren, it's not a bad start to our day across the area and the work week with temperatures that are pretty seasonable, and we'll have plenty of sunshine in this forecast. But as we go forward in this week, when I show you this graphic, I'm going to have to check the umbrella off, but the good news is today is not one of those days. Have the sunglasses handy, the sunscreen as well, and you'll need the jacket, as I mentioned this morning, with temperatures that are currently sitting in the 40s in most locations, sitting right at 50 degrees here in Indianapolis, 43 in Bloomington, 47 in Tipton. If I had to pick a day that's probably the best weather day of the week, today will be it. Unfortunately, I hate when we have to get the best weather day right off the bat because that doesn't really give you much to look forward to, but we do have rain chances that'll be heading our way. Starting late tonight, that's when that rain near Omaha will start to make its way into our area, so take advantage of today. You will notice the clouds increase as the day goes on, so we go from sunny to partly cloudy to eventually mostly cloudy later on this evening with a high temperature in the mid-60s. We'll talk more about that rain that is heading our way and how long it's going to stick around, Lauren, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. This is the look right now in the downtown area, I-65 at Washington Street. Things are pretty quiet here. If you look off the distance, you see some flashing lights. That is the work going on I-70 right now between the North Split and over on the east side at 465. Both directions of I-70 remain closed throughout this week, so keep that in mind as you're traveling through downtown and the east side. Let's take you over to the southeast side right now. Look at I-74. This is a view near Post Road where traffic is starting to pick up just a little bit in both directions, but it's still traveling up to speed. No crashes on your roads around the metro area at this hour to slow you down. We are following some breaking news this morning. This is out of Henry County. Sheriff's officials tell us they're searching for 2 inmates who broke out of the Henry County Transition Center. Authorities say Paige Thomas and Felicia Davis ran from the facility following a disturbance. If you have any information on the pair's whereabouts, call the Henry County Dispatch Center at 765-529-4901. New from overnight, a family of 4 is safe following a home explosion on the city's northwest side. This happened on Dabney Drive near 46th Street and High School Road around 11 o'clock last night. The explosion destroyed the entire back of the house and melted siding on the home next door. Fire officials believe a propane heater in the garage caused this explosion. Also new from overnight, 2 people are in the hospital following a late-night fire in Brownsburg. Firefighters tell us that the fire started around 10:30 last night on Dover Boulevard. This morning, firefighters are working to learn what started the fire. The condition of those taken to the hospital has not been released yet. Well, after 2 months of staying home, business closures, Indiana is trying to get back on track to reopen our economy. We're in those reopening stages outlined by Governor Holcomb. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning with more details. Alyssa, good morning to you.
Good morning, Lauren. So there are 5 stages to this process, and much of the state is going to start on stage 2 today, which means retailers can reopen at 50% capacity. However, there are some counties that are not starting that today, and one of them is Marion County, also Cass and Lake County, and that's because those counties do have the largest number of COVID-19 cases in the state. If all goes well, restaurants will be able to open at half capacity next week. Hair salons and nail salons will be able to open by appointment only next week. Stage 3 will start on May 24th, so at the end of the month. Gyms, playgrounds, and theaters can then reopen at half capacity. Stage 4 expected to start on June 14th, and that's set to allow retail stores and malls to operate at full capacity again and reopen bars, nightclubs at half capacity. This is also when people will be able to go back to museums and zoos. June 14th is also the planned date for sports leagues and tournaments to resume.
Those efforts will help us reach the goal of having Indiana back on track by July 4th.
And July 4th is the start of the final stage. That's when conventions, sporting events, fairs, and festivals are expected to resume. Now, the governor says this plan is not set in stone and can be changed based on the virus. Now, we do know that hospitalizations for COVID-19 cases have been decreasing for the past 2 weeks. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. Now to the future of life in America with COVID-19. The virus is already forcing big changes at restaurants, airports, movie theaters, and casinos. As ABC's Kenneth Moten reports, America's #1 sport is about to see big changes as well.
This morning, from the casino floor to the skies to sports, a glimpse of what America's return to reality could look like. The NFL is planning to release a full schedule later this week with a start date of September 10th and with fans reportedly in attendance.
I think it's important to make fans feel safe.
Tom Garfinkel is the CEO of the Miami Dolphins. He tells Good Morning America they're already making changes to Hard Rock Stadium to make it the gold standard for safety.
What we've done is significantly reduce capacity, keeping the stadium cashless, so it's basically touchless.
And now MGM Resorts is reportedly pitching a plan to the NBA to finish its season in Las Vegas. According to the New York Times, the proposal says 24 courts could be built at the MGM convention centers, and players, their families, and staff would stay at the resort. Meanwhile, on the Vegas Strip, gambling revenue at some casinos was down 97% last month. This is what poker tables could look like when they reopen. Glass on 3 sides separating players from the dealer. On the big screen, some theaters showing movies again, like this one in Texas, are now using caution tape to block off rows and enforce social distancing while asking customers about any symptoms they might have.
If that answer is yes, we're going to politely ask you to come back and refund your money.
At the airport, this could be the future for some travelers. A full-body disinfectant box now being used in Hong Kong to fully clean passengers and their clothes. On board your next flight, all major U.S. airlines have now blocked some or all middle seats for social distancing. One change that's already here, a new rule requiring passengers to wear a face mask.
We feel safer.
I think it is what it is, and if it takes just wearing a little mask in order to travel, then so be it.
Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
Well, 2 IUPUI professors are taking a closer look at the state-level executive orders issued across the country meant to manage COVID-19. The research will eventually allow leaders to better understand which orders worked and which ones did not. Peter Fetterman and Callie Curley are both assistant professors at the O'Neill School at IUPUI. Their focus is on 2 types of executive orders, restrictions and suspensions. Restrictions include limiting gatherings and closing non-essential businesses, while suspension includes things like postponing elections or extending tax deadlines. They're comparing each of the state's actions to the total number of COVID-19 cases.
Identifying effective strategies that are working for states to reduce mobility, to reduce case growth rate. But we're also really concerned about accountability and making sure that we are developing a record in a centralized location of all these big changes to democracy.
Some of the changes for democracy that we're seeing are about putting things online, making access not only physical, but also technological. And so it provides us an opportunity to maybe change the landscape of what democracy looks like.
The professors are creating a public portal to display their findings to help leaders better understand the impact of their decisions for the future and to help people hold their governments accountable. Right now, the data is still being processed, but when comparing Indiana to Montana, Florida, and Ohio, Governor Holcomb appears to have issued fewer orders, but each order tended to include more substance. For many students, their summer plans have been impacted by COVID-19. Either their internships have been canceled or their summer jobs are no longer happening. This morning, the University of Indianapolis is sharing 20 things you can do this summer to help propel your future career. Our Kelsey Anderson is joining us right now with all the details. Kelsey.
For many students across the country, their summer plans are now being changed, their jobs canceled, or their internships rescinded. And the folks at UIndy want to make sure no one wastes their summer. I spoke with Stephanie Dietz. She's the Associate Director of the Professional Edge Center at UIndy. Her and her colleagues are working hard right now to make sure their students, no matter the circumstances, do something for their career this summer. So they came up with a list of 20 things you can do to help yourself. Some of those things include volunteering your skills to a small business that may need help, getting certified in a new trade, finding a virtual mentor, and working an essential job.
My challenge to my students has been, yes, this is terrible. Yes, it's really unfortunate, but let's find other things so that you can still move forward in your career during summer 2020.
Dietz says you can expect to hear the question, what did you do in the summer of 2020 during job interviews for the next several years? So you want to be able to answer with what you did instead of what you didn't do. UIndy shared their entire list of tips of things you can do this summer to make your summer worthwhile. We'll have it for you over on the IndyChannel.com. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Well, it's May here in the state of Indiana, and typically that means a month filled with racing. Coming up, how Speedway officials are trying to keep the community spirit up despite the silence at IMS. It's 5:41. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Patients that can address two conditions.
Welcome back. The time right now is 5:44. We're taking a live look over the central part of downtown Indianapolis here. This is Lucas Oil Stadium there. And it looks like we have clear skies. We'll check in with Todd Clausen and get his full forecast as you're stepping out the door this Monday. That is coming up. A quick reminder to you, if you vote in the Indiana primary, it's been moved from tomorrow to now June 2nd due to the COVID-19 crisis. The deadline to register, though, is 11:59 tonight. If you haven't mailed in your registration by now, your best bet is to go online to the Indiana voter portal. It's on the Indiana government website. All the information you need is on indianavoters.com. The month of May is typically all things leading up to the Indy 500, especially out in the town of Speedway. But this year, due to the pandemic, there's no racing this month, and the Indy 500 will now happen in August. Now, the Speedway Arts Council is starting a new campaign. It's called It's Still May in Speedway. Families are encouraged to show their pride for their community by decorating their front porch, their yard, their windows. You're encouraged to register through a link on the Speedway Arts Facebook page. Each contest is $5, and all the money goes directly to help local families through the St. Christopher Church Food Pantry.
Even though there isn't racing happening in Speedway or in Indianapolis, it's not the end of the world. I think people should still get out there and celebrate their neighborhood, celebrate the city of Indianapolis, celebrate the town of Speedway. A lot of people are hurting right now. And so if we can, support one of the busiest food pantries on the west side, while also trying to make people's days, let's do it.
So you're encouraged to decorate any way you want. You can do a racing theme, thank essential workers. Just be creative and show pride in your community. We have all the details right now on the RTV6 app on how you can get involved. Well, a lot of us are needing to stretch our dollars a little further right now. So Stephanie Linebergen with our partners at Newsy asked the experts, should you keep making debt payments during this pandemic?
Coronavirus cash crisis.
Should I keep paying down debt during the pandemic?
Make sure that we're able to cover our minimum debt payments. We don't want to try to accelerate and pay off debt any quicker right now because we don't know the timing of when things are going to get back to normal.
It's just one of those situations where it's much, much better to play it safe. So if you're considering how to be paying off your debts right now, unless you're in the what I would call a unicorn position of a stable job and a very healthy emergency savings fund, if that's not your position, bare minimums on everything.
And also understand what the specifics are. If you continue making payments, does it go to the principal? And then are you able to make a bigger dent in that debt? And then you can make a decision on whether that's worthwhile for you right now because maybe you still have income security.
Something to think about. The time right now is 5:47 this morning. Puerto Rico residents waking up and cleaning up from a 5.4 magnitude earthquake. The earthquake happened early Saturday morning and it was centered off the coast. Much of the damage was in the city of Ponce. The mayor there says that several buildings were damaged. At least 50 families had to find different housing. Puerto Rico officials do not report any injuries or deaths this morning. We do want to get a check of our forecast back here at home and the temperatures as we're stepping outside this morning. Todd.
Yeah, you know, the temperature's not bad for this time of year, Lauren. We're in the 40s and 50s, and that's what you would typically see in the beginning of May for overnight lows. Our problem is going to be going forward. We're not going to see a ton of warming that's going to take place throughout this week, especially after the weekend temperatures. You could not complain about those in the 70s and even the 80s on Saturday. Today, we're getting back into the mid-60s, and the one trend you'll notice throughout the day today is for the clouds to increase across the area. So we'll start off with plenty of sunshine this morning, turning partly cloudy by the noon hour, and then mostly cloudy as we work our way into the afternoon hours. But we will not see any rainfall. That will hold off until after sunset tonight. Just a few fair weather clouds out there this morning. That is just about it. But the significant rainfall is still well off to our west. It's making its way through Nebraska right now. And this is a pretty good cluster of storms. And oh, look a lot like this as it starts to make its way into our area as we work our way into the course of your Tuesday. So Tuesday is potentially the wettest day of the week, also the coolest day of the week with the clouds and the showers that will be around. Here's how it plays out for you hour by hour on TrueCast. You can see we're high and dry through the noon hour. Here come the clouds throughout the afternoon. And then as we work our way into the evening hours, there could be a spot shower, but essentially today is a dry day for most of us. And then overnight, the showers will start to increase in coverage as we get a little closer to daybreak on Tuesday morning, and then throughout the day on Tuesday. Here is the rain. There could be some pockets of moderate rainfall as well. So Tuesday is not going to be the best day of weather for us with the rain that will be around, and also the temperatures will not be great, and I'll show you those in just a second. So take advantage of this evening. Sunset is at 8:43. At that point, temperatures are still in the 60s. By 10 p.m., a few spotty showers are sneaking into the forecast, but look at the temperatures for the day tomorrow. Our high is going to be right around 55 degrees, but that is shortly after midnight. The daytime hours tomorrow are going to be in the 40s. It is going to be very, very chilly out there as this rain makes its way through the area. And the rain's going to stick with us through a good chunk of the morning, and even a few snowflakes will be possible, believe it or not, there across northern portions of the state. So tomorrow's just not a pleasant day any way you want to slice the cake with the temperatures or with the rain. It's going to be one of those days you want to stay inside. Looking forward, Thursday is probably the next best day this week, and then as we get into the weekend, it's mainly dry for Mother's Day, Lauren. Just a chance of a few spotty showers on Mother's Day itself, but look at those lows Saturday and Sunday morning in the mid-30s, highs only in the mid-50s.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Well, grocery stores have made a lot of changes to shopping, making it safer. We'll get to that story in just a minute. First, I forgot we got to get a look quick at traffic. This is south of downtown I-65 near Keystone Avenue. You can see traffic there is moving along up to speed despite that construction, shifting northbound traffic into the southbound lanes. Use caution and watch for workers even during the daytime hours. Well, now, grocery stores, as we've been saying, have made a lot of changes to keep shopping safer, but there's one area most stores have the highest virus exposure. An epidemiologist with the University of California says that the checkout lane is actually the most dangerous place in a store. Customers and the cashiers usually have to stand within 6 feet of each other, and they're both handling those products. Some of the largest retailers have put up those sneeze guards and provided masks for workers. The Occupational Health and Safety Administration also also recommends limiting the number of customers in a store and only opening every other checkout lane. Thousands of college seniors are supposed to be walking across the stage to celebrate their accomplishments. Still ahead, how one local family is making sure that their new grads' hard work is being recognized. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The time right now is 5:54. It is Monday morning, and here's a look over Indianapolis. And off there on the horizon, you can see the sun starting to rise over our city. A beautiful stop there to start your work week. Well, Ball State students graduated this past weekend, but due to COVID-19 restrictions, they did not get to walk across the stage. So, in an effort to celebrate, a Greenwood family held a parade for telecommunications and journalism graduate Blake Williamson. Blake had no idea the surprise was coming, but his mom says she wanted to acknowledge him for his big accomplishment.
With the COVID-19, I couldn't do a party or dinner or even a commencement. I'm like, what can I do to honor my son graduating from Ball State University? And I love WRTV6. I've reached out to them. Everybody has been great.
I had no idea at all. I thought it was just going to be a small thing, and I had no expectation of this. So it was kind of surreal seeing all of those people that I haven't seen in forever coming through and driving by. So it was definitely cool to have all that.
Well, Blake's mom tells us he's the first male Williamson to graduate from college, and she wanted to show him just how proud of him she really is. So she invited his neighbors, family, college friends, high school friends, all to this parade. There are 2 possible dates now for Ball State's commencement, but a specific date has not been announced yet. Congratulations from all of us here at RTV6 to Blake. What an accomplishment. Maybe we'll see him in the news biz someday, Todd. All right, let's get a check of our forecast right now. Todd Clausen standing by. Todd, what can we expect today? Looks like we're having a few audio issues with Todd. These are the current temperatures out there for your Monday. We'll get a full look at your forecast for your Monday and your week ahead. That's all coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana. We'll see you at 6 o'clock.